Hi everyone, I'm Vince Vitale. I'm a philosopher and a Christian, and I'm here at the University of California, Berkeley, for a week of talks and dialogues on the deepest questions of life and of faith. The free speech movement originated here in Berkeley. In fact, it's centered right here in Sproul Plaza. And the students that led that movement in 1964, they didn't just want the freedom to speak. They wanted the freedom to be heard. Not just the freedom to say whatever you want into thin air, but the freedom to have a legitimate opportunity to persuade people who think differently. And if that is the heartbeat behind freedom of speech, then it raises serious questions about whether freedom of speech continues today. Sure, with social media, more people than ever are speaking, but is anyone being heard? Have we lost the ability to disagree well? Have we lost the freedom to persuade? Part of the problem is that our post-truth society has become fearful of truth. We've become afraid of truth because experience has taught us that seriously pursuing truth leads to disagreement. And the fear is that disagreement will start us on a trajectory where we devalue the people we disagree with. And then from there, that leads to intolerance, and then to extremism, and then to violence, and then ultimately to terrorism. And if that is the trajectory of truth, then truth is an act of war. And an act of war leaves you with only two options: fight or flee. Either you fight for truth and become a terrorist in the making, or you flee from truth altogether. Either you use your freedom of speech to shame and destroy others, or you don't use it at all. Fight or flee. That is the cultural ultimatum that we are stuck in. How did we get to this point? Well, I think it's because you come to see either truth as more important than love, or love as more important than truth. If truth is greater than love, then you fight. Then the end goal of truth justifies whatever means necessary, regardless of who gets trampled in the process. Alternatively, love is greater than truth. Then you flee. You flee from truth altogether, and you accept every belief, no matter how incoherent, because at least that's better than winding up as someone who's violent and extremist and intolerant. Fight or flee. That's the cultural ultimatum that we're stuck in. Either love gets sacrificed at the altar of truth, or truth gets sacrificed at the altar of love. And it's only getting worse as the polarization in our country increases, and we are left too far from each other to talk to each other. From this distance, all we can do is shout at each other or ignore each other. Once again, fight or flee. I think Christianity offers a better hope. According to Christianity, God is love, and God is truth, and therefore truth is love. On the one hand, Jesus disagreed with us. His very coming was an act of disagreement with us, a statement that we required saving because our lives had disagreed so badly with what he intended for them. And yet, his coming was also his very act of extravagant love for us, his willingness to suffer alongside us, his willingness to join us in our shame, his willingness to lay down his life for us. The cross of Jesus Christ, the symbol of Christianity, is a symbol of the perfect intersection of love and truth. In Jesus' death, simultaneously, you have the greatest expression of God's disagreement with us and the greatest expression of God's love for us. Jesus cut the link between disagreement and devaluing because his communication of truth was one and the same as his communication of love. Love and truth perfectly united in a personal sacrifice. How often is your disagreement with someone your very act of giving your life for them? Who do you disagree with passionately? Who is your enemy? Are you fighting them? Are you fleeing from them? Or are you making a personal sacrifice for them? What would it look like to communicate truth to those who you disagree with passionately through an act of radical love and personal sacrifice? That is the question that Jesus figured out how to answer for all of us. And I believe we will live in brokenness until we figure out how to answer that question for each other. Only then where we have not only the freedom to speak, but also the freedom to be heard, and the possibility of living in the unity of love and truth that alone brings peace.